Hello everybody, this is Mary Ann and I'm back with another video, and this is a video in which I will show you or explain to you the system of how I plan. I have already made videos about the layouts of my day on two pages, and I've already uploaded a video before of the evolution of my planner pages. And every time I make some adjustments in my planner pages, which I make myself, I share that with you guys. And I've already made a video about what I track and why, and the importance of the Hyperdex and the LM-Hyperdex, but I've never really sat down to explain to you and to talk to you guys about my system for planning things. And now that I am here, I thought I would just take the time to talk to you about that. So here's my planner again. This is the compact sized Franklin Covey with 1.5-inch rings, which was given to me by Deborah as a rack. I'm so loving this binder, and everything, all the planning, all the like 98% of the planning happens on the daily pages. This is my section for daily pages. Everything happens here. So what exactly are in these pages? Let me show you. Over here I have a little envelope which I made. This is really just an old envelope that I don't use anymore. So I labeled it indie boxes. And over here I have like extra stuff. Extra hyperdexes to cut up when I make a mistake on my hyperdex for the day and I can't rip them off, so I just cut up little pieces of independent hyperdexes and then paste them onto the mistakes so it won't be apparent. And extra sheets of ivory paper for when I make a mistake. I'm going to show you guys how I use them in a little while. And these are tabs that I cut up for my deadlines, and I'm going to show that to you for a while. So everything is just here on this little envelope. And over here I have my Hyperdex color key, and these are the daily pages. Now in planning, I also have here in my to deal with, I have the general task list. I list down everything that I have to do, everything that I have to buy, and everything that I have to deal with or call, and which are not time sensitive. Because when I have to buy something on any given day and it has to be on that day, they are written down on the exact days in my daily pages. But for those tasks and things to buy that don't have a definite time frame or a definite day attached to them, I just list them on here. And that's like the entire like 2% of my whole planning system. The 98% is on here. So I have the weekly task list, things that I must do on the week. That's why I have here must be done 2 to 8 March 2015. So as you can see, most of it's already done because it's already Saturday here for me. And it's appended or tipped in to my spread for Monday, because my week always starts on a Monday. So it's tipped in onto here so that whenever I flip the page, the task list stays with me. And then if I have to close down the binder, I just fold it up like this. And at the end of the week, which is a Sunday, I have my weekly summary here, which I've already described. It really just summarizes all the time that I spent for what. It summarizes where my hours were spent, which I count, that's number of hours, which I count from the Hyperdex. So number of hours spent in the GSIS, I just count the number of hours that are light green on there, and I put a summary on here. And then over here is a summary of all the things that I spent. These are the categories, where my money went, and where my money came from. So that's it. There's nothing really profound about my weekly summary. It's really just a mathematical summary of everything, where my time went, where my money went, and where my money came from. So that's it. That's my weekly system. And at the end of the month, I summarize everything that's on here. At the end of the month, I just fold them all out. Let me show you how it looks. I just fold them all out like that. And then when everything is all folded out, I have the, here's another one. I have the, it's not yet the end of March. The end of March is actually this one. So when everything is folded out, and these are filled out every Sunday. So at the end of every month, I just fold out all the filled out weekly summary sheets, and then I just total them all here. And then I put down here certain, things that I am proud of, like things that were particularly difficult to do for the month, but I was able to accomplish them anyway. And it's just for my own personal consumption, because I do these things, I summarize even where my time went, because it's easy to fall into the trap of blaming yourself when things don't get done. Like, a week is a long time relatively. It's a long time for some people, it's a short time for some people. For me personally, it's a long time, and for that amount of time, a lot of things should get done. But sometimes when only like 75% of things got done, it's easy to fall into the trap of blaming myself. Oh, I'm so inefficient, I'm so bad, why didn't I do this, I'm so lazy. It's easy to fall into that trap. But if I have a weekly summary of all the things that got dealt with anyway, and where all my time went, like I spent like 12 hours organizing my notes for school, that explains everything. Not an excuse, but it explains why some things didn't get done, because a more urgent thing had to be dealt with, and I had to, deal with it, or else the damage will be even greater than if I don't deal with it right away. Things like that. It's easy to fall into the trap of blaming yourself, but if you have a written record of what went on, and then you won't fall into that trap. So that's what the weekly summaries are for. So what do I actually have on each spread? Let me show you a clean spread here. This is it for March. I haven't written down anything yet. The left side is for tracking, and the right side is for planning. On the planning side, let me just fold this in because this can get, distracting. On the right hand side for planning, this is the task box and the notes box for my day job. That's where I spend like at least 8 hours of my day, or a total of at least 40 hours a week. So lots of things do get done, and things have to get done on any given day. Like I get a tasking that's due on this day or that. I write them all down there on the day in which they're due, or on the day in which I have to do something for them. And here's the logo of my company for my day job. Here is the box in which I write what is my schedule for the day, because it's not 8 to 5. Let me just show you. It's not 8 to 5. It's actually 7 o'clock in the morning to 5 o'clock in the afternoon, but only on Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. On Wednesdays, it's 7 a.m. until 11 a.m. only, because every Wednesday at 1 o'clock to 4, I have classes for my master's degree. So let's go to the Wednesday so you can see. That's 7 o'clock in the morning until 11 o'clock in the morning only, because I have school. That's pretty standard. I haven't written down anything on here yet. So that's what the box is for. That's what that's for. And over here, I put in a note of whether I was late or on time getting to work. And over here, I put a note in whether I went overtime on that day or not, so that it's easy for me to see if I have to file a claim for overtime pay. That's pretty much the standard in our office. You go on overtime But you don't just go on overtime. You have to have permission from your manager, or you have to tell your manager, like, hey, I'm going overtime today because something came up and we now have to deal with this thing, and I'm afraid we already have something else for tomorrow, so I can't do that tomorrow. So I'm willing to extend my working hours today to finish that. And on the next day, I have to present my manager what I actually finished on overtime, and I have to give her secretary a copy of what I actually did and submit that to the person who requested it. And paperwork needs to be filed for that overtime on the next day. So if there is an overtime note here, automatically it follows that on the next day there will be a task dealing with the paperwork and justification and claim for the overtime here. But on days when I am on leave, those those two boxes of course don't have on time or overtime, but they have the words sick leave or emergency leave or forced leave, which is our mandatory leave, or the solo parent leave, which I'm entitled to because I'm a solo parent. So I'm entitled to solo parent leave with pay. That's where the boxes are for. And the countdown is really, I work for the government, I work in the government, and we get a new president of the Philippines every 6 years. This is a countdown of how many more days we have to go before we get a new president. Because things are going to change. Things change drastically in our office every time we change the president. So that's what that countdown is for. And that's the whole box for my day job. The size is pretty much adequate, I think. This has always worked. The size of this has evolved over time, but I think this is pretty much the size that I'm going to stick with. Same with the box for the personal. This is a letter M, which stands for Marianne Mall. And these are the tasks in which I put all the personal tasks that I have to deal with for the day, like get dry cleaning, like get my bank balance, like talk to this person or talk to that person, things that I have to do for myself and for a few freelance jobs that I have and my pro bono work. This is my task list for my Etsy store. Like if somebody ordered something, a custom order, that's where I put down notes. And then if you can visit my Etsy store, you can see that I am already shifting to PDF downloadables because the PO is really, really very bad, and mailing rates are shooting up for some reason, and so I'm shifting to PDF downloadables, but you can still order a custom request, so it keeps changing, so I have to keep track of the changes that go on. And here is the task list for my graduate studies. And here is my, I used to use this for a gratitude box, like at the end of the day I write down here things to be grateful for, but that has changed already. This is now the box that I use for affirmations, like positive thoughts that I have to retain in my head for the day to get through the day. And it's still a form of gratitude, I can write it down in such a way that it's something to be thankful for, but that's what that box is for. So that's it for the planning page, which is on the right side of the binder. Now this is for tracking. This is the Hyperdex, and I've already showed you a color key. I have colors for every significant category of my life in which I actually spent time on. So those are the categories, and that's pretty much how my Hyperdex is filled in. I just use those colors. This is a zombie day. I was having, mixed episodes because I'm bipolar, but I was able to show up for work, do minor things, still got some things done. So yay for me, still got some things done. So that's pretty much my Hyperdex. And over here I have expenses. Over here I have, the love life part. If I'm out on a date with someone, I put that down there. Although that hasn't moved a while. And then this one is for my son, like if he has something different for the day aside from school, if if he has activities, if he has practice, and if he has requested me to call him on a particular hour, I write that down here. And here is where I write down the mileage for the day, like the odometer reading at the start of the day before I leave the house, and the odometer reading at the end of the day when I park in my garage for the day. And the third line is where I write how many liters of gasoline I purchased, if I purchased gasoline for the day. If I didn't purchase any gasoline for the day, then that's blank. And here is the box for tracking fluid intake. 4 for coffee and 8 for 4 is the maximum number of coffee, but 8 is the minimum number of glasses of water I have to take. Now here are the tasks for the daily habits that I am trying to build. I have to make the bed every morning, every day, not every day, but every couple of days. You know, these are the things that I have to deal with, just really chores and habits for my writing career. Bed, floor and trash, closet, because I have the habit of just throwing things onto the bed when I'm looking for something to wear for the day, and then I have to throw them back all into the closet at the end of the day when I'm about to sleep on my bed. Now, that's not a good habit to have, so I have to fix the closet every now and then. And then there's laundry, and then clean the bathroom. My 365 days habit for writers, which I might talk about it in another video. And then if I journaled for the day, the daily summary for the day, if I wrote a blog post for the day, and if I wrote a letter to my son for the day. I'm gonna talk about my letters to my Chandler in a blog post. So what usually happens is that I just color the boxes in front of them when I have done them for the day. Now here is skincare. It's not really the same, but I have like AM face, AM body, PM face, and PM body. I just put down there whatever skincare products I use, because they're not the same every day, and it depends on what I did for the day, what I use on my face. And here are the tracking boxes for the rest of the things that I have to do. Like here's the date, here's if somebody has a birthday, but if nobody has a birthday, then that is just blank. It's also a space for holidays. If there's a holiday, there's a national flag here, and then there's the name of the holiday there. But if nothing is happening, then that is just blank. And I track down here the following things. My devotionals, because I'm a Roman Catholic, if I prayed or went to Mass or something. And then I write down here the title of the story or short story I was working on for the day, a book I read for the day, a movie I watched for the day, TV show, medication, because I'm bipolar, mood for the day. Usually it's more than just one because I'm bipolar. And then this is swimming and exercise. I don't get to swim every day anymore, but if I do swim, I put down there how many hours I've swum and what kind of stroke I had. And if I exercised instead, I write down there if I ran or if I jogged or if I just did some Zumba at home. I put that down there. And this is the weight and body measurements for the day. So really that's what the boxes mean. So I actually have a cheat sheet here of what I'm going to tell you. Oh, the deadline tabs. Over here, you are going to see tabs that some of them look the same. Like a lot of them are the same. That the calculators are the same. And there's this little guy. And there's the 2 buses. Now these are for deadlines. Let me just. Whenever I have to make a whenever I have to make a payment, and it has to be on that very day, I just put a tab on there, and that's what this is for. Let me show you. I hope I brought it. I think I have some extra here. That's what this is for. I've already printed out several pieces of this, and I just cut them down with scissors, and I append them to the day that I have to make them, so that when this is closed and I'm not actually looking at the pages for the day when something is about to be paid, I know that there's something that I have to deal with on that day, and it's financial. And so I have to have here on the pages prior to the day something that will prepare me for that payment. Like I have to make it. This has already been done. This has been moved, and after I flip the page over, because the day is over, the tabs are no longer visible. So I'm only seeing the tabs for the incoming deadlines for payments. This one stands for my university. This is my statute for my university. So if I have an important paper due on that day, I put the tab on the day that it's due, so that when I'm not yet on that day in which the paper is due, I am constantly reminded that there is something that I have to prepare for. It just makes sense to me. Like, for instance, there's bus travel here, there's packing to do, I have bus tickets to purchase. So before I arrive at that day, prior to getting on that particular day, I should have already prepared for them. So these are very, very handy. And once the day is over and I flip it, it's not visible anymore. And once I archive the pages, I actually just fold them down. I no longer snip them off. I just fold them down, and it works. It's not visible anymore. So there's that. And one last thing, how do I keep my pages clean? Because sometimes I make mistakes. I actually make a lot of mistakes, but you don't see scratches here. I don't block them out. I don't use whiteout because my pages are ivory and those whiteout films are white, so it makes me go crazy. What I actually do is I cut out a piece of ivory paper that's just about the same size as, or the same area as the mistake, and paste it down and write over it. And it just makes more sense to me. It's cleaner that way. And if I make a mistake on the Hyperdex, I have extra Hyperdexes here that I cut down. Let me show you a Hyperdex that I have already, no, oh, here. Oops, where are you? Here. I made a mistake. I make a lot of mistakes. But I just cut them down and then paste them onto the space in which I have made a mistake. So everything is pretty clean. And I have to make my daily pages clean. It doesn't matter to me if I understand what went on in my day during the day, even with the mistakes written down in my pages. That's okay with me. I still have to fix things so that there are no mistakes, because when I look back, I no longer remember what are the mistakes and what are the correct data. So I cannot just leave it with mistakes like that. I have to correct the mistakes on the day right after I detect the mistake, so that I won't have to worry about keeping track of the mistakes when I have to look back on my archives, because you shouldn't keep track of mistakes. When you detect a mistake, you should make it right away, so that you won't have to, think about, or you won't have to keep remembering which is the mistake and which is not the mistake. So that's it. I do have monthly pages, but that's really just for forward planning. And that's it. This is where 98% of the planning happens. And this is where 1% of the planning happens. And this is where the last 1% of the planning happens. And that is how I plan. I hope I was able to give you some ideas with this video. I'm happy I'm able to share this with you guys, because the people that I work with don't really do this kind of planning, so I'm probably the only person in my entire building who does this kind of planning. So it's nice to be able to have people to share these kinds of things with. So that's it for now. Until next time, thank you so much for watching. Bye!